Life Faith Center. Shalom. Good morning. It's good to be in the house of the Lord. Amen. Good to see so many of you out this morning. This morning, firstly, of course, we give God all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise this morning. Feel a little awkward there waiting on Sister Shelly while that song was going on. Because they're watching and I'm like, well, let's finish the song yet, so I'm not sure and all of a sudden in the back there. And then I waited and I see Sister Shelly go to the side now, and I'm telling you, but the devil is alive. Not Sister Shelly, the devil is alive. Right? I'm confused this morning. Alright. So it's good to be in the house of the Lord this morning. Did you have a good week this morning? Amen. This week that went by, that is. Of course, firstly, I said firstly, we give God all the glory and the honor and praise. Secondly, I want to thank you for being a part of Word of Life Faith Center. Alright? Yes, we'll see in the house this morning. Amen. Yes, man, that praise and worship had me going. Amen. Had me going. Alright? Of course, thank you for taking the time to be here to serve our true and living God. Yes, amen. Is He your true and living God this morning? Yes, He is. And I believe that that God sees your faithfulness, and in kind, God's plan will be put into action in each and every one of our lives. So, speaking something good into your life this morning. This week, in my own life, I have been making slow and steady progress on my large project, which I haven't told you all yet. It will come out soon. And you know, sometimes it can be a daunting task to really stick and have patience with a project. I'm sure you will feel like that about some people too. Yes. Yes, amen? Amen? Yes, somebody said so, yes, and I agree with that, Be honest, that's good that you're honest, you know. Sometimes you come here and you want to be real goody two shoes. And sometimes you hide, you know, the nature inside. And sometimes in nature you have all that good inside. Sometimes it's good, you have good parts of you, and sometimes you don't have good parts of you. But you know, even in the process of that, and I tell people, I told you all about patience, that patience is not one of my virtues, but God is giving me more insight into that and making me have more patience. Amen. Making me, see how you use the word, making me have more patience. And so, as I was talking about the project, and I was saying that you have to, try to have patience with this project. But that got me thinking that even though I don't feel daunted per se when it comes to patience, with people these days, I'm getting better at it. We still have to, and I don't lose my patience when it comes to serving God. I lose my patience sometimes. I say, Lord, where He is here? You should be doing something here, not, out of being upset, but that doesn't mean that God isn't there. And so I have brought messages like that before, all right? And even though I was thinking about that project, and I was thinking about how that relates to our relationship with God, and I said, even though I'm not daunted by serving God, I can imagine that some people may not feel the way that I feel about Almighty God. Some people will not feel that same way. And I see the praise and worship team. They really love to serve God. Amen. The prayer team as well, they love to serve God. And that is, of course, an interlink between the praise and worship and the prayer team. So I see that they love to serve Almighty God, and that is a very, very admirable thing, a very, very good thing. Where did I go? Right. And so I was telling you, I can imagine that some people may not feel that way that we feel to serve Almighty God. But maybe they see it like that project that I was working on where I was losing patience and I was, losing. It was tiring. That's tiring thing. And we all go through that, right? We go through that work, and everybody? Yeah. Everybody have nice jobs. No, nobody raise their hand, nothing. Sometimes it's tiresome, and not because I don't like it, but because it's plenty work. Sometimes it is like that when it comes to God. Because God has given us everything and He wants a little bit of work out of us. And in that little bit of work, we say, oh God, we have this. You know what I mean? We're tired. Always feel like I want to let her come to church on a Sunday? Yeah. No? You take the praise and worship team and say, they say no. No. You understand? So we sometimes you will be tired, but sometimes, when it comes to serious things, and we have to realize that God is serious, sometimes we can say, listen, you know what? I can come to church and then I can go back home and take a rest. So that is possible, people. Yeah. And so that's why I'm so happy to see so many of you out here, and I'm preaching to the crowd too, because most of you all are here on a Sunday, and I don't get to call out everybody as well too. I don't get to call out all the people. I call out Sister Shelly all the time. So I want to call out Sister Sandra today. Sister Sandra, good morning. Alright, and I want to call her, I call her brother Tom all the time too, right? Alright, so I'll call her brother Imtiaz this morning. Alright? And I'll call people as we go along. Sometimes it's hard to remember things when I try to, and I thought of when I go through the word of God. But nevertheless, you know, I want to call out some people. And if there's anybody in the house that feels that way, you know, that patience and, you know, being tired of serving God, I am not here, of course, to judge you. And if you know someone who feels that way, try not to judge them as well. Because people need a good word of encouragement, and so today, you know, this is what I'm trying to bring this morning. Even though you might hear me something negative, it's really not to be negative. As I said before, it is to be positive. And not just that, but something deeper came to me as well. I realized that in my own life, it wasn't just a good word, but a good word from someone I trusted. When I talked about that last week. I say, you know, sometimes for a whole week I don't get a good word, you know. I bring a word for everybody, but sometimes whole week I don't get really a good word. And so thanks to my aunt, Auntie Indra, she told me something good last week as well. So I get little good words in between. Why did I'm saying this for a reason. It wasn't just a good word that I needed, but a good word from someone that I trusted. Because words, my brothers and sisters, are very cheap. Are very cheap. You know, there's some negative. You say, well, Pastor, why would you bring something so negative? Words are very cheap. Someone will say, I love you, and they will treat you like a dog. Did that ever happen to you? Yes. Someone will say, boy, I'm thinking about you, but they wouldn't find you when hard time reach. Yes. Talk to me. Yes. You see why I defined it so specific? Because these are obvious things, you know, but when we're in church, we all talk about good things the majority of times, but I have to teach you what is outside there as well too, because you can live here and be in a bubble, you know. You can be in a bubble, but you have to be aware of what is outside there. And so trust is a very serious thing. Because you could trust someone, and of course be disappointed, or you trust someone and the words don't mean anything. But you can trust someone who is good. The words mean so much more. The words mean so much more to you. Alright? So I'm saying words are very cheap unless it comes from a person who has gained reputation in some way with you. It makes more sense, right? Kind of tend to trust your loved ones more because they gain more reputation with you. You have that experience and so forth with them and so forth, right? Make sense? Yeah. And this week, you know, where's my wife? My wife has been really encouraging to me by speaking positive things into my life. And I have to tell you that even I underestimated the power of good words from a trustworthy source. Yeah. I underestimated. Not that she doesn't love me, you know. Sometimes, you know something? Sometimes the hug is not the same as the words. The hug is supposed to be more valuable in a way, but sometimes what you need is the words. Yeah. You ever realize that in life you need certain things? Yes. You need certain things. And so this week, you know, when my wife was, you know, telling me good things, I can tell you that I have spent a lot less time questioning my ability and more time pursuing my ability which God has given to me. Amen. And I don't know if you go through that. Maybe none of you go through that. Maybe one. So this message might be for one. The one who questions your ability with God. If you go through that this morning, then you need something good in your life. And today I want to tell you that you have good things in your life. If you haven't gotten a good word for this entire week, I want to tell you that. I don't know exactly what you need. But if there is something I can help you with, let me know. Let me know if you feel that way. If you feel that you have been spending more time questioning your ability when it comes to God, let me know. And I hope that the word of God as well will encourage you to forget about questioning yourself and focus on pursuing what you have to do for Almighty God this morning. And this was just my example, as I said, that I went through. So I spent last time questioning myself. I spent less time questioning if I was good enough for people, and more about how I could accomplish good things for myself and also for people. You see the difference in it? That little word that she brought to me on a daily basis, she did it nearly every day. She told me something good about myself. And that changed my pathway. Not that she changed my pathway, I believe that of course that is a message from God. But it changed my pathway from focusing in one direction and focusing on a straighter direction. very simple how these things can change you. And I hope that, as I said, the Word of God changes you that way. The Word of God is one thing, but people who know the Word of God, good people who know the Word of God too, they also change you as well too. Yes. All right? And that is God working in them too. And this is also how it is with the Word of God. If you do not believe it as a trustworthy source, you will read it, but the impact on your life may be less than the 100% impact it should have upon your life. Remember, I gave the example of words being cheap. Somebody can tell you they love you, but they don't love you. And so if you don't really believe it, it doesn't impact on your life. But if you believe it, it impacts on your life. So you see the difference when reading the Word. You can read the Word in a critical manner. You can read it as if you don't believe it. And there's a difference, believe it or not, when you read it as if you believe it. It is two different things. So understand how one little variable could change your life for eternity. One little variable could do that this morning. I know most of you all are here because you believe it, but I want to encourage you to believe it 100%. Amen. To continue to remember to believe it 100%. Amen. All right? Don't believe it halfway sometimes. Yes. And I know a lot of the times some people will come and they'll tell you, but that is song right in the Bible, and you cannot pick and choose the Bible. But don't pick and choose the Bible. There is, even if it doesn't make sense sometimes, I am sure it will make sense overall when you read the entire thing and when you really get into, of course, appreciating what God has given to us. All right? Right. Because if you don't believe it, this is the next point I wanted to make. This is what God was showing me. If you don't believe it 100%, He was telling me that. Tell me first. Don't feel that I'm perfect. I'm not telling all I'm perfect. In fact, I'm telling you the opposite. God was telling me too. If I don't believe it 100%, or even near 100%, then the remaining percentage is spent questioning it and distracting me from applying it in my life. I take an extra time to do it. Let me just say that your life is 100 years, and you spend 20% of that time questioning the Word of God. You would have spent 20 years questioning the Word of God, when you could have spent that 20 years moving on with the Word of God this morning. This is what God was showing me. He showed me how I waste time sometimes. If I don't remember to understand what's going on, I'm wasting my time. I have to really try my best to remember. We wouldn't be perfect. Maybe we might get 98%. We might get it, but the less percentage we spend distracted is better for us this morning. Amen this morning? Amen. And the reason I say near 100%, as I said, is because we are all human and we go through the challenges of life, and that can distract us. And this is where the Word of God comes in to bring us back from that distraction. And so I am included in that as well. But I hope in this explanation I have given, we can focus on the prize rather than be distracted by questioning the prize. Because there's a prize in the Word of God, as we know. Jesus Christ, of course, is the prize. God is the prize here. Your everlasting life is the prize here. You do this for a reason. Don't think you just come and you're like zombies. And don't let people make you think that you're a zombie because you come to church. I have friends who, kind of used to talk like that. Well, I never used to tell them actually I was a pastor and so forth, but I wasn't a pastor then. But they say, like people who are religious, they're like zombies. They don't think. That's how they make it sound. They don't think, they're stupid, but they're not stupid. It's just actually they see something more than you, that they see something and they make that comment, So this morning, with that being said, would you kindly turn to your neighbor and repeat after me this morning? Neighbors? This is the village of Woodapie Youth Center. Oh gosh, I love it. You will all be my neighbors, right? But this is my team here, so my neighbor. You look good this morning. You look good this morning. You are not just looking good on the outside. You're not just looking good on the outside. But you are blessed on the inside. But you're blessed on the inside. You are filled with potential. You are filled with potential. And purpose. And purpose. You have been given power. You have been given power. And authority. And authority. By Almighty God. By Almighty God. You give a pinky finger there, right? Yes. You are a blessing. You are a blessing. And not a curse. And not a curse. And God loves you. And God loves you. You will be the head and not the tail. You will be the shall prosper. We speak love. We speak love. We speak joy. We speak joy. We speak prosperity. We speak prosperity. We speak peace. We speak peace. Long life. Long life. Good health. Good health. Great strength. Great strength. Upon your life today. Upon your life today. This church will be blessed. This church will be blessed. And you all will continue to be blessed. And you all will continue to be blessed. In the mighty name of Jesus. In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen and amen. I will receive it, right? Amen. Good thing I didn't have a prompt on it. How much I paid them? Nah. It's my neighbors, you know. It's my neighbors, you know.
I want to know if you could join the team.
Now, this morning, I hope that you will not fall asleep on me this morning. If you fall asleep, take another 5 minutes and then get back up, right? Because I have to cover parts of our account which some of you may already know. And it might be that I've spoken about this before, but I hope that it's going to be an additional angle to what I've spoken about before, what God has been showing me. It was pressed upon my heart from the beginning of these sermons that it is important for us to cover most, if not all, of what the Word of God offers, obviously. And so we reached the book of Judges, as many of you all know. Some of you may have missed certain parts. And if you missed certain parts, boy, you had to read it, right? And I came across the scriptures regarding Samson. Do you remember a man named Samson? Yes. Who don't know about Samson? Anybody? No, you don't feel bad if you don't. It's actually good if you don't, because you'll get some of the message here this morning. So firstly, what was surprising to me was that the most obvious detail of Samson was what I couldn't remember. I suspect that this detail is not always taught as well in the church. And that obvious detail was that Samson was also one of God's chosen judges, and I forgot that. I forgot that Samson was one of God's chosen judges. And after all, what do we remember about Samson? Do we remember that he's a judge? He was a judge? No, exactly. We remember. Did you remember Delilah? Yes. And that's what you remember. You tend to remember Delilah, and you want to bend this with the excuses. See what the wonders do you? It's in the Bible there, right? But no, it was really, the message was really about what God was doing in Samson's life. So remember the story as Samson, as it was related to women, and how he actually had, like, I think 2 or 3. But there were a few things I want to share with you this morning, most of which is related to, remember I was talking about trust just now, words and trust, most of which is related to some level of trust, and the production of what trust brings as well too, to your life. First realistic question is this: who do you trust in this life? Who do you trust? Just think about it for a second. What's the first person that comes to your mind? The first thing, of course, Jesus and God. Yes, Jesus and God. Excellent answer. And after which, most likely you would trust like your mother or your father. You think about your husband or your wife, and then you think about your family. You might think about a best friend. Yes, we talk about best friends and so forth. So, how much do you trust your friends is the other question, or do you trust your friends is the other question. And if you trust them, why do you trust them? Because obviously we're talking about the point of trust, and the question is why and how and all these different things, because we need to understand all these different things. It will help us along the way. And what is your trust built upon? And you know, trust is a very delicate subject. If you really look at it, it have nobody here that didn't get burned based on trust. It have anybody who nobody ever break their trust with? Anybody? No, and somebody, you would have had some experience about trust. And trust, of course, being in that negative light sometimes. And I don't know about you, but I have always seen trust as a personal one-to-one relationship with someone. Would you agree? Yes. Most of the times it starts off that way. When you look at you could trust a group, but if you go down to the nitty-gritty, down to the binary level, it is a one-to-one relationship with someone. But reading about the experiences Samson had, I realized that there are many different types of trusts. When you have the trust, the money trust to Brother Tom, that different type of trust. But trust is more complicated than a one-off rule. You see, trust is a mixture of many things, parts thereof, all mixed together, or part thereof, as I said, depending on the relationship one has for a person. The trust we develop seems like a yes or no answer, at least down to the micro level. You either trust someone or you don't trust one. Anybody like that?
Yeah.
Or you're not sure, you do not have enough knowledge to trust someone. It's three, right? Three things. Even though it's binary, it's kind of three. You always have either you know, you don't know, or you're really not exactly sure what's going on. And in Judges, in chapter 13, we hear about the story of Samson's birth. We see that he was called by God since before his birth. Anybody called by God before his birth here this morning? Raise your hand for me. Let me know what's going on. Only one person raised their hand. Everybody sleeping? Alright. You're free to raise your hand. You're afraid we call you up on the pulpit to say a prayer. In fact, since all there is in a hand, I heckle all, you see? So raise your hand so I don't heckle, right? I turn it around. Normally, you're supposed to heckle me, yeah? You're supposed to heckle the talker. But I'll turn it around. In fact, the angel of the Lord had visited Manoah's wife. This is a story, crash course. We're not going to go through the full word. As I say, you might have to read the entire thing. I'm glad that everybody have their Bibles. This whole family have their Bibles here. Brother Matthias. Very good, very good. And the angel of the Lord had visited Manoah's wife, who was barren. She was barren. So you see, barren, this happens not nowadays. You see, nowadays plenty of people having problems with children and so forth. But apparently this was an issue that happened even in the Old Testament for a long time. And it came to pass in chapter 13. So she was barren, and she was given the news that they would have a son. And it came to pass in chapter 13 that Samson was born. Alright? And so basically an angel came to them and told them that they were going to have a son. At that point in time, they didn't know it was an angel. And they had to test to see whether it was the angel. It was only after the angel leave that they realized it was an angel and so forth. So you had to read the story, right? I'm not going into that because we're just talking about Samson being born. If you know anything about Samson's story, however, even though he was chosen by God to be a judge, his life was not perfect. And we talked about that about 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Anybody life perfect here? No. I was going to raise my hand back. I raised my hand for that one. And I was going to heckle all the after for no reason. But now I can't heckle all for a reason. Alright? So his life was not perfect. This is of course the paradox of life itself once again. One can surely dream or want a life that is nice, and nothing is wrong with that. I don't have a problem with anybody who wants a nice life. But if we build our houses based on quote-unquote the perfect life,